All right, you're welcome once again to the Polity, and it's coming to you live from the Abuja studios of Kaftan TV, the short form for King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. You know it very popularly as Kaftan TV. The full expression is King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. And my name is Dayo Omogun. And this afternoon, as usual, we'll be talking about something, two topics really, that are trending in the news cycle, and that is very interesting to all of us Nigerians, and of course must also evoke some interest in those who watch Nigeria from abroad. And so I welcome you on board the show, and I can assure you that this is one of the best times of your day. In case you've been having a bad day, just tune to this program and tell your colleagues, your friends, your neighbors to tune also, so all of you can be plugged into something that's exhilarating, that's uplifting, that's enlightening, that's educative, and at the end of the program you'll definitely be lighter, you'll be more knowledgeable, you'll feel fulfilled. I can assure you this is therapy at no cost. You're welcome. And I will be going into the topic straight away. Before I bring in my guest, what are we talking about? News has it that Inec, that is the Independent National Electoral Commission, has on its desk 110 applications for new parties, new political parties. It sounds, that's bogus, a bit funny if you ask me. And so we have 110 plus whatever was existing before. Somebody says that we joke too much in this country, but of course it's it's providing a level playing ground for people who are interested. As it is, it's just myself and my own friends who have failed to submit an application, and if there's still time, maybe we need to do something about that. Now I'll be bringing on board my first guest via Zoom. His name is Barrister Clem Aguiyi. I do hope that he's connected already, and I also so I do hope that you are there, Barrister, and I also do have Lavinia Tadguoronno in the house, and I'm sure that she'll also complement what the barrister will be doing. And so we'll go straight to the barrister. All right, so maybe as we wait for the connection, I'll go straight to Lavinia. Lavinia, you've heard about the news that there are 110 applications on the table of Inec. How does that sound to you?
I mean, why add to an already fragmented system? The political system in Nigeria right now is already bungled up and fragmented. And with the introduction of these new political parties, that is, if they fulfill the criteria and get registered, it's just going to bring more fragmented, system into the already, as I mentioned, problematic system that we have. And one thing I've noticed is, why do these political parties always come up just a year or two before, elections? It was the same in 2018. They came up. The same for 2019 elections. Yes, and 2022 we had more, and now here they are. With my understanding, in 2018 there were 68, and I think after the elections a lot of them were deregistered, because as it is now we have 18 on ground. Why are they coming? These people, these political parties that keep bursting almost every time that there will be an election, do they even know the functions of a political party? Because for me, I'm just analyzing, from without. I'm not into the political system, but I'm just, from my analysis, it is more of a personal gain, if you ask me, because these people come out, they come out with candidates that most people don't even know. we know that. They come up with candidates that we don't know. They just do a little bit here and there, and immediately after elections, they're gone. Poof, with the wind. We don't hear about them again. So I think INEC should, in as much as the proliferation of this political parties want to include people and give freedom, like you jokingly said that it seems it's only you and probably your friends are not. They should look at the criteria, the systems. These people, do they have longevity? Because they just come short term, they do something a little bit and they're gone. What are they here for? That's just my take on it. The fragmentation is just too much.
All right, so Lavinia says the fragmentation is too much. And I agree with her entirely. But again, I find it very funny that you will always, we tend to want to proliferate everything. Everything. And as we speak right now, there are requests also for 31 states creation. So if you add 31 states to 36, you'll be talking about 67 states. For a people of about 230 million people. Even America, that is reported to have 350 million people, and some of those states very vast, large places,
very large,
and with huge population too, have only 50 states. But here we are asking for 31 more states so that everybody's family can eventually, because when we get to 67, we'll definitely have to take it to 100. At that time, I and my family will also be asking.
Yes. With Nigeria, things just keep growing.
So I think that that mentality is it's faulty. Shouldn't we look at what we have and try to make them better? If we have 18, if we have 20, 25, shouldn't we look at what is lacking? What, for example, is making, I mean, if you have, okay, if we have 18 and all that are relevant are not more than 5.
They aren't.
And then you want to now take that number from 18 to 128. For example, if all were approved. I don't understand it. So I think that this idea of always wanting to discard what's on the ground, let's do something new, I think that we really need to look at it again. So now, I do know that one of the requirements, and I hope that we do eventually get in touch with the barrister.
Right.
I would want us to really focus. What are the legal requirements for registration?
Yes.
And is it so easy that everybody can just scale through?
Right.
So that's it's going to be very interesting to see what exactly is the minimum, and if 110 associations are likely to be able to pass through the how do they say it now, the eye of the camel's eye or something.
Yeah.
Now, so dear viewers, you also have a stake in this at the appropriate time, but I'll take this opportunity to connect with the barrister, and maybe we can engage him immediately. Barrister, are you there? Oh, good to see you. Yes, good to see you.
Yes,
and it's good to see you in this Ogbefi cap. How are you doing this afternoon, barrister?
Very well. Thank you, Dayo, for having me in your studio, and thank you for dear viewers.
All right, welcome back, my viewers, and I do hope that the barrister is still there. If you're still there, please let's get it on. All right, good to have you now. I was saying that you look regal in that your outfit, whether you are planning to get one chieftaincy title in the very near future.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have to be proud of our culture and be Nigerian, and I think our strength is in our cultural diversity.
All right, barrister, let's go to the matter at hand. INEC has 110 applications for political party registrations on its desk. Have you seen this piece of news?
Yes, I have.
How do you react to it?
Well, you know, if you ask me from my own personal individual perspective, what Nigeria actually needed is two major political parties, if you ask me. We once experimented that when we had the SDP and the NRC, even though that
a little to the right, a little to the left.
And so that the parties can be ideological based. That it was the best attempt we've made at having a two-party system in Nigeria, but that failed. And when we began with this democracy 26 years ago, we had, I think, about 4 or 5 political parties. And some of these other people came up, and that's, I think there was a court case and a court judgment, which was instituted by the late Gani Fawami with regard to his own political party being registered. And the court said that anybody can register. We can have as many political parties as we have, as long as that political party, one, has a name, it has an acronym, it has a constitution, it has a registered office in Abuja, which is the capital. It has the membership, it has a constitution, and the membership has a reflected federal character and spread. And the party also able to have offices at least in 2/3 of each state of the federation. So that is how we got to this issue of having so many parties. When you say now you have all these things, it is not left for INEC to go and do their verification, and if you meet the qualification, they register you. The new and intended parties have rights to register based on the law and the court judgment. That's how it is as of moment. But when you register and you become a political party, and you're not able to win an election, because some of these parties collect grants from INEC for being a political party. And that is, I think, is what actually influenced some people to want to register a political party, so that they can be taking this subsidy from INEC as a political party. And INEC came up at the time and said, no, if you did not win even up to 1 House of Assembly seat, you cannot be a political party. So they weed them off. And that's how some of the parties were weeded off, and we have what we have now, and now have another 100 and something. Nigerians cannot stop to amaze, and we cannot stop bastardizing the process. Even no matter how good intention that it is, we will bastardize them. But like I said, nothing stop anybody in Nigeria is the constitutional provision, the freedom of association. And so long as that freedom of association is there and unencumbered, people have right to go and register to be members of any association they want to be, including political parties. But is the number unwavering? Yes, it is unwavering because it also affects INEC in planning and logistics. You can imagine if when you are having a ballot paper, you have to print every of these political parties of the ballot paper, and this ballot paper can stretch from one poll to another poll because of the list of names.
Now let me stop you a little bit, Barrister. By the way, I think I left out his name when I started talking about him. We have Barrister Clem Aguiyi with us, and he's the one who spoke just a moment ago. And Barrister, if this is so, why are we not jumping into the fray? We can get a name, we can get an acronym. Me, you, Lavinia here, we just put something together, and a party is ready. Well, that's just an aside, a joke. That's really an aside. But let's proceed a little. You heard what the barrister just said. So, have a name, have an acronym, have a registered office in Abuja, and then have an office. An office in Abuja, and also have a membership that cuts across the federation. Is there still one that I've missed? Now, so these are the requirements, and you can see apparently why everybody seems to think that it's something to try. Now, do you think that 110 of these associations could really muster the capacity to meet these requirements?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. From the names that I saw, some of the names I saw online, already there is confusion in the naming. You see Congress, Action this, then there's Green, and then there's Green Congress. From that alone, you would know that they will all be bungled up at the end. Of course, not all of them will be able to meet up with this criteria, but for me, I'd say the criteria is too simple.
I'm sorry, so you're saying that from the very point of maybe name verification,
there will be
some of them will be knocked out.
Yes.
Because you can't allow, I think there's something the lawyers call passing off or something,
right.
or simple, you can't duplicate names.
Yes.
You can't duplicate legal
already
names.
There's a problem with the new coalition party, the ADA. There is another party that is seeking to register that has the same acronym.
The same ADA?
The same ADA.
Wow.
That means something different.
Very interesting.
You know, there's
yes.
Democratic People's Party and there's PD. It's just confusion. Going back to what you said,
yeah.
You know, I feel the criteria is too simple. In as much as not all political parties will meet up to it, it's still too simple. Meaning, if I'm able to get a space within Abuja, I'm able to gather up my relatives and do something, you know, I'll be able to like come up with a reasonable amount to go to Inec and say, oh yes, me too, I want to do this. And this was what I was trying to recall, because I knew there was a sort of, you know, would I call it not a stipend, but an amount that was given.
Goes to them.
That might be the motivation. You gather your people, get this money so that you get this INEC thing, and, you know, after a while, you know from the onset that you don't have the ability
to go the distance,
to run the mile.
Right.
Now, not to jump the gun, but in my opinion, one thing that can, you know, help curb this registration process that is so simple that a lot of people are coming up and doing whatever is, I think, the number of registered members you have, not registered members, the number you're able to cover.
Okay.
You understand? Even before the election.
Even before the election.
Yes.
No. Okay, let's get there. There.
Okay, all right.
And now I'll go back to the barrister. Now, barrister, you just painted a picture that seems very funny, laughable, makes us look unserious and all that. When you said that if we have this number or something close to what is being requested, then we'll have a ballot that stretches from Maiduguri to Lagos to carry the various names and logos. Now, how shouldn't that be a restricting factor on its own?
Yeah, definitely that is going to pose a logistic nightmare for INEC in terms of printing and having these parties all on the ballot. And you have to have their name correctly, you have to have their logo very explicit, because a political party can also go to court and say that, oh, you didn't put my acronym very well, or my logo wasn't clear, it was blurred, therefore you should cancel the election. And that also creates kind of confusion on the voters who are illiterate voters in the local area. They can't identify which party they actually wanted to vote for. And that is why you see most of these new parties are struggling to have A in their name so that they can come top on the ballot on the ballot paper. Like when APC wanted to come, they have to use APC so that they can come among the first 5 or 10. And the new one is coming again with ADA, so that they can come within the first 5 or, you understand? So when you They have the way they are doing all these things. But like I said, do they have right to come together and register as a political party? Yes. But before you go there, make sure that you have the capacity and they are serious about contesting for political space, winning election and forming a government. And not because you want to collect the grants and subsidies that Inec often will give you because they're a political party, the name of democracy. You're creating confusion. And most of these parties, again, are being funded by people that are already inside the political party, sometimes to create confusion. It cannot be ruled out that the ruling party are the ones creating all these 101 parties.
All the other mushrooms.
All the other mushroom parties. Because there's always the hands of the politicians and the ruling party and the opposition party in this mushrooming of parties. And I think it's because we lack that sense of patriotism, and also because our politics is not ideological based. If our politics is ideological based, you find that people, at least the political party, will have a soul, have a spirit, and have something they are championing. And I think we have to go back to our chapter 2 rights, the constitution, and ask ourselves, this party we are trying to form, how does it position? And what is our take on the chapter 2 rights? Should we make it enforceable? Should we make it justiciable or not? Because the chapter 2 rights are most of the rights that Nigeria should enjoy. That's what will make this country to grow. But if we find out that they are not justiciable, and even the chapter 4 rights, 80% of the chapter 4 rights are not absolute rights. The rights that can be denied you at any time, and at any point in time for any reason. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we deal with our chapter 2 rights and chapter 4 rights? And that should govern how political parties are shaped and formed. And to me, I would prefer that Nigeria just go back to two-party system with what you call independent candidates. So that have two major political parties that can always alternate power. That is in the interest of Nigeria. That's what Nigeria needs. Is either is APC today, tomorrow we'll have PDP, or have PDP now, tomorrow we'll have APC. And they'll have independent candidates who can always contest for position and space at the local level of election. I mean,
you're suggesting a semblance of what pertains in some of the most popular democracies that we know. For example, in the US, if it's not the Democratic Party, then it's the Republican. And even in the UK, usually it's between the... Go ahead.
In America, in the United States, we have other political parties. But the ones that are actually contesting and the changing powers are the Republican and the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
We have the Green Party, we have the Tea Party, we have other mushroom parties there. But they always play out at the local elections. And then they have independent candidates. If you think you have the capacity enough to draw people that can follow your ideological bet, I mean, you draw it, but at the end of the day, it is always a contest between two major political parties. And that is why...
Barrister, just before I go to Lavinia, you referred to a time in our history when we had the SDP and the NRC, which produced, incidentally, that election produced what has been adjudged as the freest and the best election so far in the history of this country. When we had SDP, we had NRC, and the military authorities at the time described it, the ideologies as a little bit to the right, a little to the left. But in spite of that, we saw how things still turned out. Now that you are referencing it, are there adjustments that we need to make, even as we bring it on board? If we were to follow your suggestion, your advocacy, are there things we need to knock around it to make it work better?
Yes, the only people that can do this thing we're talking about is the politicians themselves. Because we are almost coming to a situation in Nigeria when we had the PDP and the other parties. And the other parties eventually came together and formed APC. Now, I was expecting that now that we have an APC, that it should be PDP and APC. And then we can have also these other parties. It doesn't really matter, but people should be able to find accommodation in those parties. Because most of the problem that we have is the lack of internal party democracy. This lack of internal party democracy is what is affecting our political growth. Because most of the time, because we have two parties that are major parties, and people don't have accommodation because of being mistreated or being marginalized or being edged out, they go and form another party. And the process is not that cumbersome to form another political party. So it keeps mushrooming into what we have. I don't think we can really get into that AZP NRC scenario again, because a lot of water has passed under the bridge and we have moved ahead. I wish it had succeeded. Because right now, as we are, like I said, it was a court judgment by Ganifa Wemi that made terrorism up to become this thing. He was trying to solve a problem, and Ganifa Wemi, blessed memory, created a very big problem. He created the problem that we have today.
Okay, now, I was going to go to Lavinia, but you just said something I would want to miss out on. Now, you said it was Gani Fawemi that opened this door that has led to this unpleasant situation. What was the position before Gani Fawemi's case?
Before Gani Fawemi's case, like I said, I don't start of this very dispensation that we are in now, the Fourth Republic that we are in. What we have was about 4 or 5 political parties. It was Gani Fawemi that went to court to say that the Nigerian Constitution provided for freedom of association, and that he could not find accommodation with him and his followers in these 5 political parties. Therefore, that he wants to have his own political party. Inec refused to register him. And then he went to court. And the court said that Inec should be able to register any group of individuals that had been able to meet the simple criteria set down by Inec of forming a political party. And I said, these criteria are: 1, that you should have a name, you should have an acronym, you should have a logo, you should have, your membership should reflect the federal character, you should be able to have office in Abuja, and pay the prerequisite fees required that you pay. Then they could conduct their investigation to see that this criteria, then register you. These are not very simple processes, but they're also not very difficult processes for anybody to free. And that is why we have all this mushroom of political parties. Just
before I go to Lavinia, now, was it the Electoral Commission, that would be FEDECO or so at the time, or whatever other name, was it the body, the electoral body itself, that just tried to insist on having 5 political parties, or was there a provision of the law that specifically said so before Gani Fawemi went to court?
There was no provision anywhere, both in INEC and NEC, or whatever name you call it, and said there must be just 5 political parties. It was actually during the Babangida time that the law said there would be 2 political parties.
All right.
They were definite. It was simple and straightforward. 2 political parties. SDP,
all right. At least, while as I turn to Lavinia, you'll have opportunity to have a cup of water to drink and catch your breath. Now, Lavinia, I'm sure all this must be very interesting to you too.
Yeah, quite interesting.
Good. Now, do you also buy into the idea that if we had a way of limiting this to just 2 parties, would fit our need, will meet our need?
Yeah, the 2 party system would be the best, logistically and other faces considered. It would be the best.
But should it be legislated?
My fear is I don't think it will be a problem. I think it will be a good thing for Nigeria. We could streamline our focus and not be so confused and all over the place like we are now politically. But my fear is it's going to bring, a divide. We are already divided as it is, but along the lines of religion, along the lines of, regions, this is going to cause a very sharp divide. A sharp divide. That's my fear. That's my analysis.
So very soon you begin to have Adamawa people in a particular party.
Exactly.
You begin to have Igbos in a particular party.
Yes.
So that nationalistic.
Let's say in a more divided way, let's say regional.
Okay, regional.
More of tribal, more regional.
Yeah.
You know, you have the southeast, grouping into one, the southwest. The north will find a way to arrange themselves between the different regions in the net. So it's already we're silently divided. Like they are, how do I put it? They are already alliances, the way we are. But if we bring this to, that's just my analysis and not as a professional politician or anything like that. I'm just saying that the division will be sharp. And like the barrister said, I don't see how that will even work at this time. I don't see how it will work.
All right, we go on a break, and when we get back, we take this further. The polity. We're still broadcasting from the Abuja station, and my name is Dayo Omogun, and I have with me Barrister Clem Aguiyi, as well as Lavinia Tadguoronno. And we've been talking about the applications on the table of the Inec, and whether it makes sense, whether it's appropriate, whether it's viable, whether this is doable, whether this is the way to go, and all that. And we'll still continue on that path for some time before we go to the second topic that we have. And so I'll go to the barrister. Barrister Aguiyi, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Now, do you think, as a lawyer, do you think that the requirements for registration needs some shoring up, needs some strengthening?
No, like I said, first of all, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria guarantees people the freedom of association, and that also includes the freedom to be a member or form a political party. And the requirement so far, it is okay, because the requirement that requires you want to have your constitution, have your manifesto, have an office in Abuja, have an office in 24 states of the federation, provide the details of your members, not to be a ethno-centered party or religious party. And the requirement that allows you to have membership across the Federation of Nigeria reflects our federal character. It is enough requirement. I don't know what else to be added to it. But you see, what we require now is not just what the law says. What we require now is common sense.
Exactly.
The common sense is, what we need now is common sense. Even though the Constitution requires you freedom of association, does it mean that you're going to go and form 1,000 associations? And then you, in the course of doing that, you water down the entire process, you water down the entire democracy. I mean, that is not what...
You create logistics problems.
So if we're serious, actually, we should be able to see how we can even legislate two-party system and an independent candidacy. Because assuming that we have that, then people can... if you want to be 1 million to run for election, then you can, and not for an association. The two political parties should be enough. And then if you want to contest an election, and you think you can make it on your own as an independent candidate at a local level, at the state level, then...
Okay, now, Lavinia suggested something.
What we can do now, that's the way.
Lavinia suggested, my guest right here in the studio, suggested something, that we should have like a minimum number of membership for the parties, so that, which they must tender before we even go into the elections. Did you say that?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So before we even go into the elections, so the question of after the elections or blah, 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 so you are now trying to make claims and collect from the grants of INEC does not arise. How do you see that?
Yeah, like what the guest studio has said, you requiring you to have basic number of members before you can be registered. Of course, the requirement already provided that when you say that you are going to have your membership offices across 24 states out of 36 states. That is already a requirement there.
Okay, and offices across the 36 states.
24 of the 36 states.
24 of the, okay.
24 of the 36 states. But then, even at that, you see, telling people this for the chance to go and bring up names of membership. Of course, they can develop 1 million names in one day. That's not a problem for them. And that's why I say that, of course, the Nigerians are experts in circumventing the law. You understand? So, if, like Lavinia said, if they said, okay, you must be, these members must be members of a registered political party, then it remains again for Inec to put up a strategy of verifying that these people that they have brought in their names are members of a political party and are registered members are voting.
Are registered, I'm sure he's trying to say, are registered members indeed, yes. And in truth. So do reconnect with us, Barrister. We're still talking. I do not know whether we can begin to shift to the other topic right now, because I think that we've done a whole lot on this. But Lavinia, like a parting shot on this particular one, what would you say?
I'll just say, first of all, the court ruling that gave rise to this opened this Pandora's box where we have political parties flying left, right, and center should be revisited. Like that court ruling should, I don't know how to do it, review it, whatever legal processes can be done to streamline the number. In my opinion, rather than a two-party political party system, let's make it 5. Okay. As it is right now, we have 4 that people can, like word on the street, you can actually talk to people and say they know these 4 political parties. Add 1 more, make it 5, standard. Right. It cannot be more than that. Let's streamline and stop acting scattered. For me, that's just my opinion. And then if they still decide to leave it open, make the measures more stringent. This is not enough, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. The barrister, speaking as a lawyer, has said that the Constitution guarantees freedom of association for the people. Apparently, that's where the lacuna is being exploited from. You know, politicians know how to exploit any loophole for their own benefits. And I don't know. I was just going to say we had 5. We had 5 in the days of MPN, UPN, NPP, Greater Nigeria, Greater Nigeria People's Party, GNPP, and where is this 4th one right now? PRP, I get People's Redemption Party. That's also many years back. Yet we still had issues. So, and then the military people constricted it to 2. We still had issues. Now, like you said a while ago, we have around 18. And out of these 18, in the last few years, the ones that have been truly effective are just like 2. That history, that trajectory should teach us the way forward. But I think that would rather not work with history, would rather play the games that we love, and would rather be free to just maybe do as we please and muddy the waters. You heard what the barrister said when he said some of the politicians in established parties are also involved in establishing these mushroom parties. And I was going to ask him, for what purpose?
Personal interest.
What personal interest? If you are in a big stream, what would a pond do for you?
Okay, this is my analysis. if you're, let's say, in a major political party, you understand, you're in a major political party with and then you have opponents in maybe like 1 or 2 more major political parties, what you'll do is, with using these smaller political parties, is to cause fragmentation. Now, as to the mechanism of that, of how that works, I can't tell, but they can be used, these smaller political parties can be used to cause fragmentation, to eliminate opposition and make, you know, this major political parties stand out stronger. Or
at least to scatter votes.
Exactly.
Like,
voter fragmentation, voter confusion is also part of it. Because if you can remember when political rallies are going on, you know, a lot of, without any insult to anybody, a lot of Nigerians are not that educated. And so you have to use, with the popular political parties, is the broom, is the umbrella. With other political parties, you see they have to really hone in on their logo for people to know. So it's part of the confusion.
It's part of the strategy.
Yes.
All right, I think that we will leave this here and move on to the other topic after the break. Segment of the show, we will be switching from the topic that we've had in the previous segment to a new one, and it has to do with a news report that says that the Anambra State authorities, government, or I don't know, have set a 50 million naira fee for political billboards, or for billboards, or for we'll get clarity, I believe, as we engage the barrister, who himself is an Anambra indigene, and so many other factors that should position him well to handle that. Now, so you're welcome back, barrister.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you back. Now, we have left the other topic. We'd like to know, have you heard about the news that your state, Anambra State, has just published a 50 million naira fee requirement for billboard adverts for parties?
Yes, I've come across the news, even though I don't have all the details.
Yeah, so we're concerned whether this is revenue generation or political strategy.
Of course, it is revenue generation.
It's revenue generation?
Yeah, revenue generation, because the Anambra Advertising Board is a revenue agency of the government that is in charge of allowing promotion of advertisements both on radio and on the street billboards and
okay,
or whatnot. And they have their charges. Even Lagos State have their charges for this thing, and Abuja also have their charges for this thing. And it ranges depending on the size of the billboard and also what you are doing. And I want you to understand also that both of these political parties, when they began to campaign, instead of using yardsticks and street signs and yard signs to advertise their photos and whatever, they started pasting on walls and pasting the public environment corridor. This money is being taken and nothing is being done with it. It's also a way of also limiting the extent of using advertisement as a solution so that people are placed in strategic areas, strategic location, and approved location. And I think it is every party is going to pay, including the ruling party in the state. I don't think there's any problem with that.
Well, let me ask you. Don't you think, like some people have insinuated, that the timing is suspect?
It is, without doubt. It is. It definitely is.
Barrister says it's revenue generation, but this didn't happen last year. It didn't happen the year before. And just when elections are around the corner, you suddenly visit that sector with huge fines. Yeah. Barrister wants to comment.
Okay.
It happens in every season. Just like it happens in every season. Just like Christmas is a season where transporters will increase their fare. The cost of foods in the market will also go up. Election time is also a season when these advertising agencies or advertising board will be able to recoup and make and they're able to raise their own revenue. That's why you're seeing it happen in that way. And even if you go to the radio stations, including Kaftan, during political time, there's an amount you charge for political advert and political campaign, but that's not what you charge for maybe burial or birthday announcement. This is different based on what you are doing. Like I said, once it is something done across the board, that nobody is being targeted and nobody is being victimized and nobody is being exempted and nobody is being discriminated against, then I don't have any problem with that. I will only begin to have problem if it is targeted to particular political parties, or some people are being discriminated, or some people are getting advantage over others. If the ruling party in the state pays the 50 million to make their adverts, and the opposition pays 50 million to make their adverts, that's what we call level playing field. But like I said, the whole idea is to generate revenue for that agency, for the work of the state. And I'm also telling you that it's because of the season. That's why you're hearing about it now. And it happens in every season. And I'll give you an example. That during Christmas season, if you want to go and do a Christmas jingle, it's going to be a different price from now, what you are doing now. Same thing with transport fare. And I also know that, because I deal with radio stations and TV stations and newspapers, what they charge for adverts during political time is not what they charge normally for maybe happy birthday. What have you? They have their money, their charge for political advertisements based on the season, and it's their own way of making revenue. I think it's for revenue. I don't think it has anything to do with targeting anybody.
All right, so for you, the timing is not a problem. It's the season, it's the political season, and the state wants to take full advantage of it.
Exactly. This is the season.
So you don't see...
Just like Christmas.
Yeah, just like Christmas. Yes, but first, let's even get clarity. Is the 50 million naira a one-time deposit, or is it every single billboard that you put up that's at that rate?
Like I said, I don't have the full details of that rate, what it is all about. I don't have the full details. If I have the full details, I will comment on it. So I wouldn't know whether it is the one-off something or for the entire period or for a particular type of billboard. But I know that if you want to put an electronic billboard in, say, a place like Lagos, they could charge you up to 100 million naira for maybe 1 month duration. That's what it is, because I know that when we were running the presidential election 2015, I know how much we wanted to pay. But then they couldn't even allow us to take some particular billboard because it has been already designated that it is good for APC then. But like I said, I don't have the full details of what is happening in Anambra. I know that strategic areas will cost that amount of money. There are areas that we consider very strategic, that if you put your billboard there, everybody is going to see it. So they will go and put a big budget there. If you are going to put it in a corner where it's not strategic, why would you pay 50 million naira for that? This is a question of demand and supply.
Now, let's take a look at this, barrister. Is it likely that the ruling party there has an interest in a particular location? Because billboards have to do with location, how visible, how well positioned and all that. Is it possible that after Dyer party pays 50 million asking for a particular location, Aguiyi party pays 50 million for the same location, and the party ruling in the state pays the same 50 million. Do you have a sense of the possibility that it will be given on the basis of merit without any other manipulations?
First of all, you know that some of these billboards or engagements that you see, the major ones are already concessions to private advertising companies, and they put their bill, and they do it based on what you call a first come, first serve.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Do you think that the first come, first serve principle will be followed in this case?
That is what I would think. If I paid you and you don't give me service, then I can sue you for damages. I think it should be on first come, first serve. If the state actually need a particular place, by now they should have secured it. In fact, any reasonable political party that want to have a space in the advertising position will have identified the areas they want even before now, and secured it and paid for it. If I were them, I'm running for election, I could have paid for those areas like 1 month ago, paid it in advance, knowing that these things will come up. And like I speak, if you have paid and they gave you receipts that you have paid, they have no power to take it away from you. They take it away from you, you use the law. If you go and pay for something and somebody collected your money, and tomorrow the person says you take back your money, that somebody came later to pay, wouldn't you ask why? You ask why. So to me, it is going to be on first come, first served, and including the state. Nobody is a level playing ground in a number of states. I don't think anybody is attacking anybody. It's a very small state. Everybody knows everybody there. You understand? And I don't think that 50 million.
All right. We go on a break, and when we get back, that will be the very last lap. Welcome back to the show. You're still on to The Polity, coming to you live from the Abuja studio of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. And right now, it's your chance to call in and weigh in on the two topics, whichever one you choose. The number remains 08029938365. If that's too fast, I'll slow it down to 08029938365. It's on the screen right now. Let's have you call in so that we can have a robust show. While waiting for you, we'll go ahead and engage my guests. But at this point, you take top priority. Just do try and call. Now, so, Lavinia.
Yes.
You have heard the lawyer, indigene of the state. He has said it's pure revenue generation. And he has said that as far as he's concerned, there's a level playing field. Don't you, knowing the political history of this country, don't you think that, how do you say it now, strong arm tactics can get into this? And also, you could have some clauses, some innocuous clauses put in the law that will be used to limit the ability of other parties to really play a field.
Absolutely, yes. There is a lot of stifling going on in here. Let's face the fact, not all the political parties vying for this gubernatorial elections will be able to afford this 50 million naira. There are 16 political parties with 16 gubernatorial candidates. So the estimated revenue is 800 billion naira that they're getting from this. One thing I would like to note, though, is like from my research, I found out that from the last election, it was 10 million naira for presidential, 7 million for gubernatorial, and then for the legislative, it was 5 million naira. Why the sharp surge all of a sudden.
Fantastic.
A 400% increase from 10 or let's say 7 million to 15 million is stifling.
It's stifling, I agree with you. Let's see if the barrister can help us resolve this.
Sure.
Well, like I said, I think in Anambra State, because I came from Anambra State, and I'm an indigenous of the state. I know that here we have level playing field for all political parties. Politics in Anambra State is not a do or die affair. Anambra State is one of the places you do politics, nobody gets killed because of politics. Nobody gets caught because of politics. Now, I've said it already here, that I don't have the details, but I know from my insights that this is purely revenue generation. And I like the fact that Lavinia said 800 billion. Of course, we need that 80 billion or 800 billion to be able to develop our state. And if you're a political party and you're not able to raise 50 million naira to pay for your adverse space, that means you're not. That's why we're talking about putting down the space, so that not many of these mushroom parties are all over the place. If you cannot pay 50 million naira to book your adverse space as a political party, then you can't be running a governorship election, because the budget from a governorship election alone will be way over 2 billion, 5 billion naira. And if you go to the United States, where actually most of the money that people raise to run an election is in advertising. That's where you spend the money. Don't spend the money buying rice and indomie and bribing voters. You spend the money on advertising. And that's why I told you is the season. Because this is the season, even in America, this is the season where Fox News, MSNBC, CNN make their money that they use to augment their expenses, because a lot of people don't understand that the advertising space, the media space, doesn't bring money except through advertising. So this is, and some of these political parties will go and raise money from their members and their supporters, and instead of using that money to put in advertising and media, they pocket the money, hoping to fail, so that when they fail, they can have money they will use to go and feed their family. If you have raised that money, use it to pay for advertising.
No.
So that people like you in the studio will have their program.
Barrister.
Yeah, that is the truth. It's not stifling.
Okay, it's not stifling as far as you're concerned. Now, all right. Did I hear you say
how much they pay to buy form for their political party? Just ordinary form. For the political party that is your own, you remember?
Yeah.
They pay as much as 50 million naira up to buy form for governorship election. Is it advert you can pay?
All right. That's why it will be very good to know if it's per billboard or something. It's important, because whether you like it or not, Barrister, if a party that is like number 18 in terms of financial strength, financial muscle, has to contend with 15 million naira billboards in how many local government, even if it's just one per local government area, and Anambra has how many? Come to my aid, Barrister. 21. Now 21 local government areas, multiply that by 50 will come to something like 1.1 billion. Is that correct? Yeah, about 1.05 billion, right? Yeah. 1.05 billion. Now, if that is correct, when a small party dispenses with 1.5 billion on advertising, are there no other further logistics? Are there no, I mean, there are several, I don't want us to belabor this, but it seems to me, and it would seem to so many Nigerians, that it's a ploy, to try to frustrate some smaller players. Yeah, you have done a great job of analyzing it, but it depends on how the people read. I will say we need to make progress on this, even as we ask. Did I hear you say in your response that this is part of what we're saying, we should be able to shut out some players? Now, if you are a lawyer, if the Constitution does not shut them out, should we employ some backdoor mechanism, not backdoor policy, to try to shut them out?
I'm not in any way suggesting that, but what I'm trying to say is this, that anybody who is running for governorship election will be able to raise followership, raise membership, raise funds that will be able to make you run the election and not make Inec go bear unnecessary expenses when you are doing a no-show. A no-show in the sense that you are not even mobilizing. You can't even raise funds to do one rally. Like you say, you are a political party and they are running for governorship election. And Inec is spending billions in printing materials that will accommodate you. And Lavinia said very interesting point here when she said that last year it was 10 million for presidential.
I was going to come through that.
And 10 million. You can imagine the rate of inflation now. Last year we are still running about minimum wage of 70,000 naira. And the NLC new proposal now is 1 million naira for minimum wage. That should show you how the inflation is and the gap is. So if it was 10 million naira 2023 and 2025, 50 million naira, it is what the market presents that we are seeing. This is not fixed. So it will keep increasing until we are able to stabilize our economy and reduce inflation in Nigeria. So the point I'm making is that the rate we are looking at may be the consequence of the market value and inflation that we see all over the place. All over the place, Nigeria are fighting very hard. It may look like a big money, but believe you me, 50 million naira is a chicken change to most of these politicians and their political parties, and they can afford it.
All right, we're getting very close to the end of the show, and we're yet to get any caller. Why don't you be the hero this edition and do call 080-299-38365? Even if you're the lone one, I mean, if it will even make it bigger for you, if you're the lone one who breaks through. If there's, I don't know what the problem is. I think there's a network problem because I know our viewers are quite active, and this is unusual. So do call in. We have 1 or 2 minutes to go, and we expect that you can still breeze through. While we're expecting that, Barrister will have his parting shot, and I'll also take parting shot from Lavinia.
I think the callers were not calling because maybe they don't have data due to inflation, cost of living.
that sounds quite funny, Barrister.
But having said that, I think we have done justice, and I want to actually commend my colleague in the studio with you there.
You can have up to 2 minutes for that.
Yeah, I want to really commend her for the position she has taken. It brings us the dynamism of democracy, and at least the different views and how people would look at it. And I know that, of course, there are people who are looking at this measure, this rate in Anambra State. It's not a law. There's no law like that in Anambra State. But I think the Advertising Commission or board fix their own rate based on their market situation. That's what you see there. And also, the whole thing boils down to, like I said, we having too many political parties that cannot measure up when it comes to what it requires to be a political party, which is membership. If you have the membership, of course, if they pay 50 naira, 1 naira, you easily raise 100 million naira or 50 million naira for advertising. And if you cannot do that, why are you a political party? You don't have the numbers that can make you even win up to least 10% of the votes. Why are you a political party? There are more than millions of voters added in Anambra State that are willing to join a political party. You go there and farm the membership, and also see how the people become the owners of the party. not individuals that throw their money and buy up the party. Let people understand why I belong to a political party. And if I belong to a political party, I'm going to contribute in growing that political party. And when I contribute in growing that political party, I'm going to get a reward at the end of the day by the work the political party is going to do through their manifesto. And I think if we begin to put more effort in building the soul of political parties in Nigeria, Nigerian democracy will be strengthened. And I decry the idea of personalized individual politics that we are playing, whereby a political party is known by an individual. When the individual disappears after failing the election, the party is dead. Nothing is heard about the party until the next time again. But I heard when Lavinia was talking about, or you talking about, most of these people, nobody knows them. They just surface again during the election season. They are doing like that because we don't have strong political system that is idea driven. We center our politics around particular individual, so that when Atiku goes to Dubai, PDP is dead. It will be like that.
Yeah, but does that not? There have been very strong advocacy that politics should be played as a side profession or something. But what you are saying now, say?
People have said that politics should be played as a side profession.
Yeah.
People have also played politics as a career, as a full-time job. Nothing wrong with that. But people have been, even in America, Joe Biden has been a politician from 1970 till now. I've not done any other job. That's his job. You want to take politics as a career, that's service. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to take it as a part-time job.
Yeah, but critics have said that in Nigeria, the problem of Nigeria centers around people who have become professional politicians who don't do anything else.
Nigeria complain about everything. Even if you remove those politicians and put another one again, you see how the same problem. We are always good at condemning and starting everything afresh again. Like you said in the studio here, that one of our pain in our democracy is the fact that we jettison everything that was there before. I want to do a different new thing. The same thing, people, instead of finding yourself accommodation in a political party, they want to go and register a new one. By the time you tell him the requirements or what to do, he's the one that will complain again. That is Nigeria for you.
All right.
Common sense in this country, be able to get going.
All right, Barrister, we must go. Thank you so very much for all your contributions. I thank you for the time that you have sacrificed and the passion that you bring on every single time that you come on this show. Thank you so very much, and enjoy wherever you are.
Thank you very
Lavinia, parting shots, 30 seconds.
Right, on this I'll just say that it is what it is. The 50 million naira fee is there, it cannot be changed. For political parties that can't afford it, go the old system. I won't say use the town crier, but digitalization has taken over a bit. Almost in almost every remote part.
Right.
It will be difficult to find anybody who doesn't have a Facebook account. You don't have a Facebook, then on WhatsApp. Use that.
All right.
As a platform.
Fantastic options, cheap options there.
Yeah.
At this point, we've come to the end of the show today, the Polity from Kaftan TV. And my guests have been Barrister, Dr. Barrister. He tells you not to use both all the time, but let me break the law a little. Dr. Barrister Clem Aguiyi, as well as Lavinia Tadguoronno.
Thank you for having me.
I did a good job on the name.
Well, you're getting there.
All right, my name is Dayo Omogun, and I must say a big thank you to all of you who have stayed tuned, and many of you who have tried to call but didn't get through. Just keep up the good job. And let me invite you to Matters Arising today at 8, from 8 to 9. Let's meet there again. And we have, it's a marketplace of ideas also. Thank you very much. And big thank you to my production team. Wonderful team, wonderful team. You deserve, will know what you deserve after the show. Bye-bye from me.